Hi everyone, thank you for joining my little video transmission here for Semantics 2020 online. I'm Chris Brockmann, I'm the CEO at Sensor, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about bridging the digital divide and what knowledge graphs can do for you, your organization, your projects to overcome the problem of data-centric IT management. I want to introduce you to a couple of ideas and experiences that we've had with our clients within the next 10 minutes. Just a few words about Sensor. I think we are probably one of the leaders if not the leader in knowledge graph building software in Europe. Our expertise is in large-scale knowledge graphs in enterprise type of scenarios. And we have had the fortune over the past 10 years to serve some of the largest and greatest companies in Europe. Sensor was founded by Søren Auer, who's, I guess, with Chris Bitzer, was one of the guys who started DBpedia. So I think we go way back. And let's get started on that pitch story that I think you should know about when you talk to your own organization about why it is important to start acting now. I think Dave McComb, and I have it here, Software Wasteland, has been talking about the quagmire and the pitfalls and the difficulties and the pain that we all experience from an application-centric world. And I think that application-centric world has been a problem for organization in terms of IT cost. But I think it's actually going to be a big problem in terms of speed of innovation, in terms of being able to embrace AI, and in that sense, in an organization's capability to be competitive. And I think a very, very nice statistic here shows how decisions are made or how fast decisions are being made in organizations across the years. And we're now seeing that we're moving into the decade between 2020 and 2030, and this data is from Gartner, right? And they've come to the conclusion that decisions over far and wide, I don't know how you say it in English, but across the organizations are being accelerated further and further and further. And I guess we all know it. We want information, we want it now. And actually, we don't want that information. We want answers, or we want automation, and we want decisions. And it's very difficult to get below that 1 hour mark on average in an organization if we don't start automating a lot of the little things. This is where we have to use data, where we need to actionalize knowledge and get things straightened out. Because if we have processes where that stop or break because we have to call somebody or look up information in a different application, if we have that across the organization, this is always a point where we're going to lose an hour or two on a decision, or maybe 3 or 4, or even a day, because we have to gather that information. So that's where we need to start, really streamlining access and understanding of information. And this is really the trend that's causing everybody to talk about AI and automation. This is a trend. This is why this is so relevant. And this is the context that I think you should put your knowledge graph activity in your organization, your data centricity in your organization. Your activities should be aligned to this problem. And your CEO will understand this because he notices, everybody knows this. This is a problem that we're trying to address. And that's what you should know. And why is this a problem? Well, obviously, we see that the digital native companies, and they've built their architectures around data and AI being really one thing, right? And they're harvesting huge competitive advantages, better margins, better services to customers, because they are really excellent at combining data and reusing data and combining it with artificial intelligence or analytics or whatever to drive better customer offerings, to drive better decisions, to drive innovation. And the problem that your typical organization is facing, and the chances are that your organization is facing it, that data is not inherently integrated with artificial intelligence or analytics. it's actually data on the one hand side, and it's artificial intelligence or technology on the other hand side, and it just doesn't get together. Not only is it data siloed, but the semantics of the data is implicit, so that even if you are able to produce the data and give it to the guys in your tech department that do a nice project, those guys still will be having a really hard time interpreting the data or asking the right questions, understanding what the data means. And so that's going to delay you a lot. And then even if you've done all that, you've made that data explicit, you've de-siloed the data, there's still plenty of little things, stupid stuff that's not explicit, something that you just know because you've been in your organization for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years or something. Tons of stuff is in the heads of people and that make your organization work, and I don't know if you know this, but large organizations, sometimes it seems like large organizations work in spite of themselves, and they work in spite of themselves because there's people there that know all those hidden rules and that know how to work the system or work around the system to actually make processes work in spite of the fact that a system or an application doesn't know the business rules. So what we need to do, and this is really what the knowledge graph is all about, is de-silo information. So make data transversely available in your organization, enrich it with explicit semantics so that everybody who gets in touch with it will immediately be able to meaningfully use it. And then make sure that the knowledge of the employees that's hidden in the heads of the people is being encoded in a way that's reusable. And RDF and knowledge graphs are just the de facto standard for that. One question that I'm always being asked by clients, and I guess this is being kind of softened now because we're getting RDF star and stuff like that. So, but really, what's the problem with relational and why don't we use property graph, and why do we think that RDF graphs are so key? I think this slide really sums it up. So if you want to take a screenshot here and look that up, and then get back to me maybe to have a bit of a discussion on why we think that schema evolution is really something that's a big plus for knowledge graphs, just as much as, of course, identification on global level rather than on siloed level. Capabilities in reasoning, I think, is a big plus, and I think, of course, we always have to look at the use cases, but it seems like if you want to build, like a corporate memory, a layer of knowledge that describes your data across hundreds or thousands of silos and maybe hundreds and thousands of use cases, the RDF graph is actually very capable of storing exactly that type of knowledge, whereas a property graph may be an awesome technology, for instance, to work with graph type of queries for a specific type of use case, where, for instance, graph query performance could be a very good benefit. And then, of course, we have the relational dimension of data, where we have the transactional side working in a specific use case, and that's also relevant. So I think when you want to take away here something, it's not that one technology solves all use cases and not one technology wants to kick out the other, right? So I don't think that relational can do what knowledge graphs do, and property graphs don't do what relational technology does. It's really about an organization building up an arsenal of capabilities that serve certain purposes. Yeah, and knowledge graphs, RDF graphs, really have the capability of storing knowledge, storing rules and constraints, and all of those core elements that help you to automate your organization. Those elements can then be used or reused in property graphs, in memory processing or Spark or whatever, and maybe even in applications that use relational databases. So this is really a give and take, and it's just in addition to what your organization architecture should look like. Well, so that's it for me for now. Thank you very much. I hope you have a wonderful Online Semantics 2020, and maybe I can see you guys in the coming weeks when we'll have Dave McComb join us for an interview on software wasteland and the quagmire of application-centric IT. Maybe you can join us there, and hope to see you soon. Thank you and bye-bye.